Welcome to Victoria Rumble Room, a show that really tries to rumble, rarely mumbles, and up until now at least hasn't tumbled. I'm Robin Adair, and we are a show, in all seriousness, that really likes to focus on stories that are local, regional, and national, and sometimes even international. And there's nothing more international than my co-host with the most, speaking from his Saanich retreat. He's a sensation, at least that's the way he's described in Croatia, John Jurisic. And Johnny, great to see you. And right off the top, we're going to talk about how dire things are right now in our hospitals, especially our emergency rooms.
Very dire, very serious subject. But before we get onto that serious subject, you're quite the poet with your introduction. We should compile and make a little song, but that's for down the road. Robin, yes, serious.
Maybe an epitaph for one of your services, Johnny. But anyway.
Nonetheless, so many serious issues, of which certainly one of the most is this lack of medical care in our province, and especially in these emergency rooms. It is crazy. The BC government has given family doctors raises, make more money. They've encouraged more doctors than ever to keep practicing in BC, but the shortage continues. Doesn't seem to be moving the needle. Today, Robin, still 1 in 5 British Columbians don't have a family doctor. That's 1 million people, at least. So if you get sick and you can't get into a primary care center, you're screwed. You're forced to sit for hours and hours in an emergency room, everyone's worst nightmare, Robin.
They can't handle it. Hospital emergency rooms were designed for serious illness or injury, and now they have to handle everything. It's not sustainable, and it doesn't seem to be getting better. We need an influx of new doctors, and other parts of Canada perhaps is going to supply those doctors. Perhaps other parts of the world, we have to open the doors, to say nothing of the shortage of nurses and other healthcare providers. The baby boom is here. And as far as the medical situation is, baby boom means medical doom. So this isn't going away. It's an ongoing problem. And we have other problems, John. We're talking about problems right now. We're going to talk on another basis about the ongoing problem we have with housing and the housing shortage.
No kidding, Robin. Crisis after crisis piling up. By the way, love your poetic license these days. We're housing is not keeping up with demand. The overall economy is growing. There are rumbles, especially Victoria rumbles, about yet another bank interest rate hike. We asked top Victoria Realtor Kevin Sing about the current market and where it's heading.
And what we've been seeing, of course, is the reaction to a regular market with no inventory is that it's become much more boisterous. It's been very robust. Vancouver realtors have been basically saying it's 2021 all over again, which means multiple offers are more normal than not. The paying of over ask has become quite normal again. In Victoria, Greater Victoria, the capital region, we haven't seen the same reaction yet, but it feels like it's starting to come as, again, buyers are feeling confident because they have some stability in the interest rates that they're facing. If the government signals that they're going to increase the rates, what we're probably going to see is an increase in buyer activity in order to beat that.
Robin, I used to be in the real estate game several years ago. It's a tough market out there. It's a very tough profession, especially as for the first time in likely almost 20 years, interest rates are inching up and the for sale market, the inventory of houses, keeps shrinking. Nonetheless, let's shift topics yet again to another local crisis. We're still getting lots of feedback on the Saanich draft proposal to eliminate off-leash for dogs in 84% of parks, including 90% of Mount Doug.
It's really something, John. And on June 26th, Saanich Council will look at the proposal, and a lot of dog owners will be tuning in for that. So we'll keep a close eye on that situation. We featured a group that are collecting signatures on a petition to have off-leash rights maintained in parks. And we certainly have heard from those people. And there's lots of feedback coming from both sides. For example, Catherine writes us, thing is, many people who think they have control of their dogs don't. They don't come back after one call. And Catherine adds, so the owners shrug their shoulders as the dogs trample plants, chase migrating birds, or jump on people. They say, but she's friendly. And that's not good enough.
You know, we're both dog owners, you and I, and that happens. You know, these dogs do stuff and you're annoyed and people go, oh, it's okay. So Stu, friend of mine, by the way, also has a few thoughts on the matter. Sorry, dogs should be leashed at all times when not in a designated off-leash area. Dogs are unpredictable, even when you are convinced they are not. Leash them out of respect for other walkers and their leashed dogs.
We'll be very interested to see the outcome of this debate, and certainly Saanich Council has some big decisions to make. But let's shift again over to some more positive news, John. We've been sort of dark and dire on this show a little bit. Let's talk about something that's actually good news. Good news on the show. All accounts in, tourism is back on Vancouver Island. Tourism is booming in Victoria, and we hear glowing reports. We heard a good one from Jeff Bray from the Downtown Victoria Business Association last week. He has a big thumbs up for what's going on downtown. Let's now hear from Destination Victoria and a very familiar face who's now on their front line, Astrid Chang. Let's zoom her in. And now joining us in the Rumble Room for the first time, wearing her newest professional hat, is Astrid Chang. And she's now with Destinations Greater Victoria. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's exciting to have my Rumble Room debut today.
Absolutely. A lot of people feel that way. And so I just want to go down memory lane just for a moment. Of course, there was a time when Astrid Braunschmidt was doing the weather at CTV and was an award-winning journalist, hard-hitting journalist at CTV Vancouver Island. Before that, the A Channel, and you've been around in media for a long time. But then you jumped ship, so to speak, went to work for BC Ferries, where you had a job in corporate communications as the manager, and now this latest move to Destinations Victoria is the Director of Corporate Communications and Community Relations. I wanted to get all that right. So first question, what's the atmosphere right now in the tourism sector?
Oh, well, first of all, it is an amazing change. The whole career that you've just outlined there, it's been a great time in Greater Victoria, and I'm really pleased to be part of the Destination Greater Victoria team now. The vibe in tourism right now in Victoria, it's really positive. You know, we're coming into peak season, and we are seeing some great things for summer 2023. I wasn't here at the time when the strategies were developed and built, but Destination Greater Victoria had an aggressive build back strategy in 2022, and it continues this year. And really what they've done is they've led the industry back in 2022 and had Canada leading results for cities. So really exciting there, and something that we can all be proud of. But I was downtown and throughout Greater Victoria over the last several weeks, and there's a positive energy in the Inner Harbor. People are back, they're smiling, they're having a great time visiting all the attractions. So it's really positive and really great to see.
So great to have you in the Rumble Room, Astrid. I've also followed your career from a different place, Robin. Of course, as a broadcaster within that sort of milieu and mix, he knows all the people. I've watched you from TV. So here I go. And as also an MC at so many chamber meetings. Yeah. So really super to have you on board. We've had Destination Victoria Paul Nursey on the show several times. And he's certainly been bullish, very bullish on tourism's rejuvenation post-COVID. And Paul's also been very keen for you to speak to us, because let's face it, it's a feather in their cap to have such a well-known broadcaster join the Destination Victoria team. Now, would you agree that your 17 plus year broadcasting career has given you important tools for this new tourism job?
That's a great question. I think, all of my personal and professional experience has helped me get to this place, and all of the experiences I've had have been important and meaningful as I take on this new role. Keep in mind, I've been here about 2 months, so everything is still very new, but it's great and it's exciting. In some way, I've always been connected to the tourism industry. My parents both worked in hospitality and tourism, in airlines and hotels. It's part of the reason that we moved from Canada to the UK and then came back to the West Coast here when I was 9 years old. Before I even got into broadcasting, professionally, I was working in hotel reservations and front desk here in Victoria. So I've worked in the hospitality industry. I was terrible at restaurant work, though. Worst server ever, spilled everything. So I have huge respect for people who work in that side of the hospitality industry. But as a reporter and an anchor, once I moved into that area of my career, I often covered tourism related stories. And of course, broadcasting live at Victoria's Inner Harbor with a weather forecast or reporting was always, brilliant. And anytime we did that in the summertime, there were tourists around who in between live hits would stop to talk about the attractions. Where should they go? What should they see? Where's a great place to go for dinner? Because you're broadcasting between 5 and 7 p.m. So that's a natural question. There was always something in the broadcasting world to celebrate about where we live and work and play, and that often was a tourism-related story. And then moving into my role at BC Ferries, one of the world's leading ferry operators, catering not only to locals and providing that important critical lifeline for the communities along coastal British Columbia, but welcoming countless tourists to our precious part of the world. So I've always sort of been connected to tourism in some way, and it's really great to be immersed in this again.
But you can really see the benefits when you're doing a show like this, that somebody feels pretty comfortable talking in public and talking on a microphone. So it's a plus, and we really appreciate it on this show. So Astrid, you mentioned BC Ferries, and you were there for several years. So I don't ask you to put their hat on firmly, but it does give you some insight into BC Ferries passenger numbers as opposed to all these cruise ships that are coming in. And I know one of the things that Destinations Victoria really looks at is how many people that are visiting are going to stay for a night or two, stay in our hotels, eat in our restaurants, go to more attractions. And I understand that a lot more people that come over on the ferries have a tendency to do that than people who come over for the day on a cruise ship. No knock on those folks, but again, the tourism members that you represent really love it when people stay longer. So how is BC Ferries doing in those numbers? Have they been counting that sort of thing and sharing that with destinations? I mean, how are things looking in that sector of people coming to the island?
A different service from what the cruise ships do. Both of them certainly serve a great purpose in bringing people to the capital region. And, for those who travel via one of the ferries or one of the cruise ships, if they're only here for a small amount of time, we hope it whets their appetite to come back, because the overnight visitors are certainly the group that we're looking to cater to as well. We want them to come back and enjoy a little more time in the Greater Victoria area. We are big supporters of BC Ferries here at Destination Greater Victoria, and CEO Paul Nursey certainly is as well, but our whole team is supportive of BC Ferries. Vancouver is one of our most important getaway markets. And so over the last couple of years, really seeing the Vancouver to Victoria route be so popular and be so busy is a great thing. It gives us that understanding that people are coming and going between Victoria and Vancouver very regularly and building that business. And, and international visitors, they love the high quality experience they're getting when they travel between Victoria and Vancouver. The vessels are great. There's been a lot of capital investment New ships have been coming online over the past couple of years. In my previous role, was grateful to be able to help with naming ceremonies for some of the new vessels that came in and are now in operations. So there is a lot of investment in BC Ferries, and it certainly shows in the caliber of the customer experience. And really, when was the last time you went on a Victoria Vancouver sailing and didn't just marvel at the view? It's incredible. However, we're connecting people with communities through BC Ferries. It's a great thing, and we welcome all the visitors via those ferries through the cruise ships. We've also got the ferries that come into downtown Victoria, the Clipper and the Coho. We welcome all of them.
Astrid, I've worked with Paul Nursey in the recent past, especially on the sport file and helping establish the Greater Victoria Sport Commission. And I know that Paul desires to work from data and lots of data and analytics and make decisions from what's really going on out there. So I know that you folks do that at Destinations Victoria. But let's just kind of turn those tables a little bit. How much feedback are you getting from the work that you do and from our tourism folks? What local experiences are the biggest thumbs up and the biggest loves from within Victoria? And is there stuff we could do better?
Well, I think there's a broad diversity of experiences in the Greater Victoria region, and that is a huge plus. There really is something for everyone in the Greater Victoria area. We get really big thumbs up from world-leading hotels. So they're often ranked amongst the best in the world. You think about the Fairmont Empress, Oak Bay Beach Hotel, Inn at Laurel Point, Magnolia. These are all great leaders. And so often there will be accolades there. We have world-class dining in Greater Victoria, some amazing restaurants. We have exceptional outdoor experiences. So think whale watching, or even the iconic gardens that we have through downtown, the peninsula, out to the West Shore as well. Some amazing places for everyone to visit. So those are the really big ones in the areas where I think we're seeing the biggest thumbs up from visitors. And I know I'm missing some. Here, but that gives you.
Well, there's always Craigdarroch Castle. We were both on their board, weren't we? Yeah.
We were, but not at the same time, unfortunately. Robin, you and I, passed each other in our board commitments there. But yeah, lots of great attractions like Craigdarroch Castle as well. Moira will be thrilled that we mentioned the castle. Where could we do better? I think one of the big wins we've recently seen is the announcement about Uber coming to Greater Victoria. Ride hailing and having an international brand like Uber in Greater Victoria is a big thing. So that's a big win. We've heard that maybe one or two more major attractions downtown could be a good thing to see. Certainly the Belleville Terminal project, seeing that begin and move through to completion would also be a big win for the Greater Victoria area.
Astrid, one of the benefits from the pandemic that we think, certainly I do, was the move to build more outdoor seating for restaurants, pubs, and retailers. I myself, it's quite clear, love to eat. I love to have a drink here and there. So I love these outdoor venues. The city's decided to continue this practice. Fantastic. What feedback are you getting from your corporate partners when it comes to the great outdoors? Does outdoor seating make a crucial difference to their bottom line?
I think we can speak broadly that anytime there are more options for people to enjoy an area, that's a good thing. So having the outdoor seating, the patios, that again brings vibrancy and vitality to areas that may not have had that once upon a time. And it also adds capacity for these restaurants as well, and these eateries and these establishments. So these are all positive things from our perspective. And I look forward to spending some time outside as well. We are fortunate enough to have a brilliant climate here, right on the west coast of Canada, where we can spend time outside almost year round. Well, I suppose if you have the right rain gear or whatever, you can do it. But how nice that we can have those patios and outdoor seating areas available to us for the bulk of the year. That's great.
Makes us feel a little bit more European. I think that people can sit out and watch people wandering by. You feel like you're, well, in a kind of watered down Paris, maybe. Anyway, I did want to get into one area that's maybe not contentious necessarily, but I know it's also in the minds of the hospitality sector as it is of other businesses downtown. And that is, of course, the street population, the fact that we do have tent city issues, that we have street issues growing in certain areas of the downtown. Is this something that the tourism industry itself has had to face in any sort of direct way?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we can all agree that there are some challenges that our region, our downtown is facing right now. Important to note that Victoria's challenges are not as pronounced as some other West Coast cities. But Destination Greater Victoria certainly does support the work that Vic PD is doing and other local partners to really complete and continue on with meaningful work in this area. A lot of what has changed over the last couple of years, coming out of the pandemic as well, relates to the way we do work. And, you know, a lot of us have adopted a hybrid work model or a work from home situation, and that has taken people out of the downtown core and the office buildings, the Monday to Friday. And so that has changed and had a bit of a ripple effect in the downtown. So that, with that context, it is really important to have visitors come to the region. Every tourist, every person who's here for a getaway weekend, every leisure visitor, every conference visitor, everyone who is attending a convention. And then we think about all of the cruise passengers as well. Every one of them is vital to the vibrancy of downtown now, because we've had people move away and work differently outside of the core. So tourism's never really been more important than ever in that respect in our Victoria area. And I think what we're learning is the importance of a diversified economy when it comes to the vibrancy of a downtown.
Astrid, I have a personal experience recently dealing directly with this issue. First of all, some context. So I run a marketing business out of my home. I live in Saanich, as Robin identifies at the beginning of our show every time. I'm way over here. I don't get into town much. So really my understanding of what downtown is from the media. What I hear from the newspapers, from the tweets, and it sounds like you can't go to downtown, that it's so unsafe. Okay, that's what it is portrayed at. I might be wrong, but that's what I sense. All right. Nonetheless, my wife and I decided we wanted to head into town by bike, and we did that weekend ago. It was my birthday, and we went into town. And I was a bit apprehensive, a bit anxious. So we bike our way into town, cross that gorgeous bridge, and we put our bikes with the concierge by the city hall. I'm a huge supporter of that. So my bike was safe. Okay, so that was off the sort of table in terms of worrying about my bike. Then we go to Mountain Equipment Co-op and buy some. Place was packed. I mean, there were huge lineups, busy, people buying stuff. Then we hit to Market Square and we went and had some beers, and it was packed and it was sunny, and there were so far no issues around safety, zero. We had an extremely fabulous time. It was so great. And not once was I worried about my safety. Not once did I see any issues to cause me to think, that's pretty ugly. So I was a bit startled. Like, that message, I would love to see portrayed more often, likely why you were hired, because there is so much great stuff that is happening in downtown Victoria that is not impacted by issues, Upper Pandora. Robin and I have been strong advocates around increased policing, increased money towards businesses for safety. That all still has to happen and accelerated. But there is a part of this city that doesn't, relate to that whatsoever. And my wife and I witnessed it. So and that needed to get out. All right. I needed to say that to you and others who are listening. So as my final question, sounds to me like you're really enjoying your new job. At least that's, like
up until today, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the best thing about it? What part of the day do you love the most?
Oh my goodness, that's a really tough question. First of all, let me say that I'm really glad to hear that you had a wonderful staycation experience in Greater Victoria, because we hope everyone who comes to Greater Victoria, who visits here, has that same feeling when they leave our city. What's been wonderful for me all through my career and into this new role, it's been the people. The people make it special, whether it's someone I've interviewed, someone who's come and stopped to say hello, someone I've met who's shared a personal story or anecdote with me, the team that I work with. There are some incredible people in this city, and I've been grateful to meet many of them and be part of, their I guess, be part of their lives in some way. When you're a broadcaster, you go into people's living rooms every single day. That's been really special for me. And it's not something I've taken for granted. That's a big responsibility. And in this new role, I look forward to continuing to share the stories of the people who are doing great things in our community, in this industry. It's one of my favorite things to do. And it's really all about the people.
And I'm sure the people appreciate that at any given time you can explain what the weather patterns mean.
Listen, if you want to do a deep dive on summer and weather, I'm your person.
It's really great to see broadcasters like Astrid moving on into other areas of the community and doing such great work. It's cool. It's empowering, using these television or radio skills for other great projects. And Astrid is picking this job up so quickly. It's pretty impressive the way she was able to answer our questions. And it's fantastic for tourism to have a rep like this working in the months and years ahead. And on that happy note, Johnny, we're almost out of time.
Yeah, we are. There's certainly a lot of issues, and Astrid was fabulous. What's really great, which I love from being Lower Vancouver Island, is that arguably the largest industry is booming. Tourism is booming again. And I think it's just going to get stronger and stronger. And it was so great to hear from Astrid. And I look forward to hearing from her, maybe in the off season, down in the fall. Have to admit, I'm really looking forward. I am, and I'm already loving it, as we all are, looking forward to a great summer on beautiful Vancouver Island. That could be a commercial. We're very lucky to live here. Very lucky. And on so many instances, we're ranked number one on so many places, so many brochures and so many tourism agencies across the world. And you and I, in this beautiful place, are so very lucky to have so many people following us on the Rumble Room. It's really remarkable. We're over 1 million views, Robin, since we started this project, cumulative views, and we really appreciate the support. We can't tell our viewers enough how much we love you, except for except for all of the negative commentary.
We love them too. We love them too, Johnny.
Yeah, we do. We do. All right. If you want to follow us, there are all kinds of ways. The beating heart of this program is on Facebook. There's a Twitter site. All of our interviews and clips are on the YouTube site. Please subscribe and follow us. Obviously, we participate in all kinds of Facebook news groups, and we are active on Instagram. We got some comments from there today. And TikTok. Here we go. So for now, in this beautiful sunny weather, in beautiful Lower Vancouver Island, I remain your tour guide to issues great and small. Love it. I'm John Jurisic.
And I'm just pleased to be along for the ride on the John Jurisic Magical Mystery Tour. I'm Robin Adair, and rumble on.